I was attending ASU my junior year when working at a local firm in Arizona, buying and selling commercial loans from banks. Honestly, I hated the industry because every time we closed a loan, someone was ticked about the fees we were making. My thought was, this is definitely not how I want to spend the rest of my days, working with people that, quite frankly, hated me. I had owned some companies before and was currently running a stock investment club with a friend of mine. He was very sharp, and I was able to watch him for about a year to gain comfort with his character. One day I pitched him on the idea, and he said, "Let's roll." I mistakenly told my boss what I was thinking of doing, and he quickly fired me right before a big commission check was coming in. Oops, bad decision. This quickly launched us into the venture in June of 2003. We literally worked out of our houses and had no idea what we were doing, but we had a drive to figure it out, and we did. Eventually moved into one of my partner's houses and worked there every day for some very long hours. We began to hire and realized running this out of the house was probably not good PR. Hey, come work with a bunch of guys working out of a house. Doesn't have a great fit to it, does it? My partner and I quickly saved up money and bought our first office building in Scottsdale, Arizona. We were terrified and excited all at the same time. At one point, my partner looked at me in a meeting and said, "You look like you're about to throw up." And frankly, I was. Needless to say, we dove in and things took off. We joined a board at ASU. We started our own radio show on 1510 KFN, and we were making a lot of money. Things were going great, so it seemed. What nobody saw, what was rumbling underneath all this success. I had some massive insecurities that stemmed from a deep hunger for money, greed, and ultimately just pride. Our relationship began to have a lot of tension because of my jealousy and desire to build a kingdom of one, me, myself, and I. Unfortunately, this did not stay in check, and I eventually lost my marriage and my partnership, not to mention our friendship. My wrong desires ruined a lot of relationships, and this was only the start. In 2008, I bought my partner out, and it was about 1 month before the market crashed. Here I was thinking, I have everything now, lots of money, and no one to hold me back. That's exactly when a rude awakening happened. My pipeline of loan was close to 50 million, and it seemed like nothing could go wrong. Then the market crashed. Two Bear Stearns hedge funds crashed, and then the domino effect began. One by one, every one of my deals blew up. All the lenders said we were not going to lend money anymore. What is going on? In my naive mind, I thought, I will just work harder. That would be tantamount to saying, hey, a tsunami is coming, so let's just run into the waves and swim harder. Foolish, I know. The next few years were riddled with me fighting tooth and nail to keep the business alive. After having a panic attack about having to get a job and waking up at 3 a.m. with some crazy idea, I then formed Inner Capital Group. The concept was to pool ideas of who was lending all across the country. The idea was pitched to 30 companies nationwide, and half of them said yes. This last ditch idea, coupled with a lot of heads down grinding, led us through the Great Recession. During this time, my soul became very hungry for something much, much more than just being successful. What was I doing? Why was I messing up so many relationships? What was the purpose of my life? Thankfully, God put some amazing people in my life, and at the end of 2010, I met Jesus for the first time. My life launched from black and white to Technicolor as the purpose of my life became ever so clear. Life was no longer about me, but about Jesus. After years of hanging onto the building, we had to sell and we're upside down. We owed a lot of money even after selling the building, and now I was faced with a very tough decision. Would I walk away from the debt or pay it back? My old self would have said, yeah, take off. But my new self said, honor your commitments. By faith, we paid all the debt back by 2013. Thank you. There was one other thing that needed to be settled as well. My friendship with my old business partner. After months of letters being sent and a lot to return of senders, he finally agreed to meet. With a lot of trepidation, we met at a coffee shop here in Arizona, and I shared what had happened and how much I had wronged him as a partner. He reluctantly forgave me, and thankfully, with a lot of patience and grace, we have a renewed friendship. His wife even invited me to his 40th birthday party. I guess miracles can really happen. It's probably safe to say there is an integrity version 2.0 now, and although the work might be the same, the wisdom and motivation are much, much different. We are committed to building a thriving, proactive commercial finance company, one that is revolutionary in the way we function and the principles that we stand on. Only God knows all the amazing things that are in store as we write a new story of this new chapter for the next 7 to 10 years. What really excites me is what your story will look like as we move forward together.